Okay, the first thing we're going to go into, a lot of the calls we take throughout the spring are switching over from corn to beans, how to change the monitor. It was tough in a 350 monitor. It was tougher with the original SeedStar monitoring, and they've made it much simpler with SeedStar 2 and SeedStar XP. Basically, right now, this is set up for corn. This is a 16-row 31 planter. And what you're seeing up there is it's set up for corn. Every other seed tube sensor is turned on, and the red line is showing you it's not planting. So to go to beans, this is set up, like I said, it's a 31, 15-inch planter, 1630s with a split row planter right there. So you go into your planter rates, and right now it's set up for corn, and it's set up for 16 rows with the Pro Max 40 disc. So you go in, you change that to soybeans. It changes your rows planting to 31 down at the bottom, changes your seed disc automatically and your disc type. So now you go back in, all 31 rows are on. You're ready to go. It even changed your population up at the top. We were at 34.5. It automatically switched over to 190,000. Say you want to plant 215,000, you can put in predefined rates so you can change them with the push of a button. What it's actually going to show you to the right of that is what your actual seeds per acre are. So that's going to show you what your actual population is. Down below, like I said, it's showing you your back pressure, your acre meter, and then your downforce. Right there is how you change your downforce. This is set up on 20-pound increments. So you change it to 80. This would adjust, go down. If you're out by the planter, you'll hear that compressor dumping air. But that makes it a lot easier than having to get out and pump up the compressor on the tongue of the planter. So otherwise, you can just press that. It'll bring up the number pad, and you can punch in whatever you want. And it'll change, like I said, pretty quickly. So changing from corn to beans is nothing more than pressing two buttons. Obviously, you have to change the disc, the knockout wheels, the double eliminators, the brushes, but most everybody's familiar with that. The one other thing, and I'm going to change it back to corn real quick. Seeing it automatically went back to the Pro Max 40 disc, 16 rows, and every other seed tube sensor shut off. When you get to the field, or anytime you shut the vacuum off, and I think most everybody has hydraulic drive planter, but to prime the meters, this little button that looks like a gear, you have to hit it, and it says to rotate seed meters, raise planter, ensure planter is stationary, and your number one SCV is engaged, or the SCV for the variable rate motors is engaged, and you press this button. It's not doing anything now because we don't have the hydraulics on, but you press that button, and you'll see the drill shaft turn, and do that 3 or 4 times until you see seed dropping out of the meters. And then when you back into the corner, a Deere planter runs off a wheel speed sensor on the planter, and it doesn't read it until about 2 miles an hour. So when you back into the corner, or say you stop in the middle of the field, pick it up, get out, look, suck, and get back in, back up a couple of feet, you need to hit this quick start reset. What that does is it gives you 6 seconds where those hydraulic motors will turn. So basically what that does is that covers you until you hit that 2 miles an hour. Otherwise, if you don't do it, you'll have a 4 or 6 foot gap where you go to start in your field. So that's anytime you stop. Anytime you shut the vacuum pressure off, you have to go in and prime the meters and the gear. Anyone have any questions on that?
You said you had to hit that gear button a couple times though?
Yeah, when you first turn your vac on, turn your variable rate motors on, spin those meters a couple of times until you see seed coming out.
You should back up a couple feet though, right?
You don't have to back up a couple of feet.
Yeah.
If
I
you
thought
hit-
you did, but last year I did back up and I'd have like, yeah, there
Where you hit
you go. On
this,
my old plow, I'll just pull you back up.
what you do is you back up,
Yeah.
put the planter down, and right when you're about ready to let off the clutch, you hit this quick start reset,
Yeah.
and that'll allow it to spin. I'm not sure if you were doing that. Otherwise, you do
I
have,
thought it was, but maybe it wasn't.
and that'll actually show you. It'll go quick start 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So if you hit it and realize you're not ready to go, all you have to do is hit it again, and it'll enable those motors to turn. So
If you have swap control, will it double plant there, or it won't let it plant until if you back up? You're saying, let's say you're planting along, and you want to stop and get behind there and dig.
correct.
Should you raise up when you go to take back off after you're done digging? Should you back up a little bit so you're maintaining that, like you're saying, maintain a constant speed into the end rows? Should you maintain a constant speed when you come back out of that?
No, that's not as important because you're going to be driving slower. So if anything, you're not going to travel as far. So it's going to be
You don't need to back up at all. Just hit that button and go.
back up a couple of feet, hit the button, set it down, and go. No, because you're not going to plant in that entire stretch, where you're double planting.
The swap control will not allow you to plant.
Yep. And throughout the field, it doesn't matter because you're driving into your end rows. Once all of these green lines go black, those are basically telling you that you're not in an area that's already planted. So if you were coming into your end rows, say at a sharp angle, those would start going black and your lines would turn red, basically showing that you have no population coming through those seed tubes. So that's what the green boxes are. So once the green boxes turn black, pick the planter up because it's not planting anyway, spin it around, put it in the ground, it'll be all black until you get to an area that's not planted yet, and then they'll start coming on, turning green, and you'll see your population come back up to around your target. The I button is nothing but a totals page, and then it does have a seed calculator. Say, like in this situation, if you were planting 30,000 and you had 80,000 seeds per bag, 50 pounds a bag, and you got 120 acres to work, it'll tell you roughly need 45 bags of seed dumped in the planter. So this just shows, a screenshot of what a home page, the main tractor's getting low on battery. The main, home page that I would run off if I was planting corn. I'd want to see, my population at the top. I'd want my auto track at the bottom, then client farm field on the right. This is another handy one to have is the variety. Because instead of trying to look for it in GreenStar 2 or GreenStar 3 and trying to find the document tab, you just have to hit that button and you can change to whatever variety you want. And it's a lot simpler than trying to navigate. And then you've got a coverage map there. But like I said, the home pages are all user defined. You just go in your layout manager and set those up however you'd like. So any questions, or you might want to shut the tractor off. Any questions or clarifications? Anything you guys have?
As long as we give the tractor 40 or 50 yards before we come to the end road, like if you want to slow down, that's enough time to
Yes.
not screw up your,
Yep.
your time.
Like I said, you can drive as fast as you want throughout the field. Like Justin Tisch can set them up and he'll put a marker, you know, right when they come in the field or come out. He'll hang a marker out there for 50 feet or 100 feet. Just say, okay, because he tends to set it at a slower speed. He might have guys slow down to 3.5 miles an hour coming into it. I don't tend to worry about that as long as you're maintaining a consistent speed. You know, I'll pull in the end rows at 5.2 miles an hour, and as soon as all those green boxes go black, I'm picking the planter up, turn around, trying to get it set down as quick as possible. You know, hit my auto track button, get it lined up, and let the swath control. You know, and get my speed back up. But no, as long as you're coming across or coming into the field and out of the field at similar speeds, it'll be all right. Half a mile an hour doesn't make that big of a difference. I think half a mile an hour might make a foot of difference. But so if you're setting your swath control to overlap a foot and you start driving half a mile an hour faster, and like I said, it's only in the turn on time is where most of it is. Because all you're going to do in your turn off time is you're going to carry that seed farther into your end rows. But if you start driving 2-3 miles an hour faster when you're, you know, coming out in the field, you're going to have gaps, and your neighbors are going to talk about you, and you're going to have weeds, and that's what we're trying to prevent here. So. Any other questions? Brian, anything?
No, you did a good job covering it.